try something. And I'm trying to make this microphone work. Hello. My name is Eliah. And my dog's squeaking because whenever I say hello to someone, he thinks I'm talking on the phone. And suddenly there's another person in the room, but there's no other person in the room. It's just me and my phone. So, yeah, hello. My name is Eliah. My dog's name is Willy. You probably won't see him in this one because of the camera angle. But I wanted to come on here and try something because I was just doing a half-hour restorative yoga class, and so I'm currently doing a yoga teacher training course, and I'm also in the process of finishing up my bachelor's degree in social work, and I'm working at a community center where I really I'm sorry, he was just struggling carrying his toy up the bed. I'm working at this community center that's aimed at it was founded several decades ago, and it also came out of the anti-psychiatry movement, and it's a really special place. I actually was really struggling last week, I feel like it's normal to doubt, right? It's normal, it's healthy, I think it's healthy in the sense that I think it's important to as life goes on, as you change, because that's what life is. It's just constant change. As things change, as you change, and as I learn myself, as I increasingly become more acquainted with myself and my body and my feelings, it feels important to have moments or times where I question things, where I struggle, kind of like with faith, right? It's an important, doubt and struggling is an important aspect of faith in many different denominations. Not necessarily, I don't think so much in Christianity, but I'm not, this is not a talk about religion. I don't really know that much about religion. But yeah, so, and I think questioning and doubting gives us the opportunity to reevaluate and recalibrate our actions with our values, our behavior with who we want to be, how we want to show up. And it gives us the opportunity to interrupt and potentially misaligned actions and ways of being. And I had one of these moments or times last week, and I with my place of work, because it feels more, it's just not just with social work in general, because I that is the whole other box of worms. Is that the saying? Can of worms, that's what it is. But specifically with my place of work, because that honestly, it feels a lot less like social work or like a very like clinical profession or like or sterile kind of framework or profession. It's a community. It's something I believe in. It's yeah, I believe in this community, and that's why I'm there. I believe that we're doing something important there. But with everything, as I said, I think there's doubt, and that's not really what I wanted to talk about. But I guess it also came up. But I also was reminded again through that, like, and if I hadn't been doubting, like if I hadn't been in doubt, then I wouldn't then this person or this insight that was brought to me about how special this place is and how much it teaches you and the people and the community, and that would have sat differently if I hadn't already been in a place where I was doubting. That input wouldn't have been as impactful, I think. So that's some context, I guess, but that's not necessarily what I came here to talk about. What I came here to talk about was, or like what I wanted to try was actually kind of put into action an idea that I had. So part of my job there, every other week I I'm in the position to, and then I'm able to facilitate a movement class for the visitors, for the people that come, and like for the people there. And I've just in general been like, even before taking on that group activity to kind of be the one who facilitates and leads that activity, I've been, I don't know, like just every time I've learned something over the past couple of years that had something to do with embodiment and like kind of trauma-informed somatic practice, I guess, like that immediately like flowed into my work. And yeah, so that's just something that is on my mind a lot. That is kind of how I am increasingly understanding my self in the world, and like how I want to show up, what I want to contribute, and what I'm interested in, what brings me joy, what feels natural to me. So okay, we're getting there, I think. So last night yesterday I was in a somatic practice class where we were at some point then asked kind of to imagine what feels natural to us, like how, like what kind of like what is something, what are ways, what are things that we want, things we desire, things that feel natural to us that we don't have to force in any kind of way. And one of the images that came up in response to that prompt was me sitting in a circle on the floor with like a couple of my colleagues. Outside there was nature, and kind of just it felt less like I'm going to teach you a class now, but more like we're just sitting here, we're talking, and I'm sharing what I'm learning, because that's what I like to do. I'm a sponge, or like, I'm a sponge, and that a lot of the time that's also that has its disadvantages, but that's not what this is about. But so I just naturally everything I learn and like benefit from and find interesting and helpful and that brings me joy or any kind of benefit, like my natural instinct is to pass that on to other people, or to talk about it and to share it, um, and that was kind of part of what I was imagining. I was imagining sitting in the circle and and kind of sharing my learnings about what, like the history of how we got here, and like how like TLDR, or like the long and short of it, or like the short of it is that how colonialism is, and like, or yeah, like how so much suffering today, like how like essentially all, like most suffering today can be traced back to colonialism, or is a result of colonialism, and the, or even like like connected to colonialism, or comes out of the same wound that colonialism erupted from, or that made colonialism possible. And that's about, and a lot of that is to do with with yeah, European modernity, with enlightenment, with Christianity, with like just European history, and and schools of thought, and just, yeah, just how human subjectivity, how humans, like the subjectivity and the kind of, yeah, way of being that humans were indoctrinated into, in Europe over, like, kind of, yeah, over a period of time, and like whatever. And then, like, so in like, I don't know, my image, like, I didn't like, in my image it was more like it was more like a vibe and like an image, and less of a, I really imagined all of the things that I was saying. But so kind of sharing, like, kind of my access, my approach, my perspective on why embodiment is a tool for liberation, or necessary for liberation. And in that image, in that imagination, I was like sharing the way that I sometimes do when I just like naturally talk to people. I like branch out into half a TED talk, and a lot of the time people enjoy it. Like I yeah, and I think, yeah, and I also, after that somatic practice yesterday, I actually did have I don't know, it was so, just imagining that, I'm getting emotional talking about this, because just imagining that and feeling how powerful that was, like how powerful I am when I'm just being me, and like interacting with the world in my natural state, if that makes sense. That just felt so powerful and empowering, and encouraging, and I think that immediately also like translated into how I was showing up, later that day. And I'm really jumping around. I've been talking for almost 15 minutes, and I've not arrived at the point that I initially turned the camera on for. But I feel like this is probably still all kind of important context. But so let's see if I can actually get to the point that I wanted to make, which is that, so I was just doing a restorative yoga class, and I was kind of thinking about how, or having thoughts about, yeah, we were in this extended shavasana, at the end of the class, and the trainer, or the yoga instructor didn't say anything. It was just like a quiet meditation in Shavasana. And I was thinking about, I was like, throughout the whole class, I was kind of thinking about how I would like to integrate, or kind of thinking about which parts of this class would be good for bringing into my own class, and my movement class, or and then based on that, towards the end, I was thinking about how I don't know, how would I, because I think so there were a few poses we did before going into Shavasana, and I was thinking about how the people that I'm working with, they so I work with people who have a lot of experience with psychiatry. A lot of them have different psychiatric diagnoses, and are just have I don't know, are are socially isolated, marginalized, and on multiple axes, and trauma is and a lot of them are very disconnected from their bodies, and I was thinking about how meditation can be tricky when it comes to people who are dealing with acute or chronic trauma, or and with I don't know, rumination and quietude, and that can be really distressing. So I was kind of in my head, while I was also kind of trying to be present and not ruminate too much, and doing the thing, I was having thoughts and some of the thoughts I was having were about the things that I could say or in that class, or that I would find helpful. And then I had this idea of how to start a class, because I think that it's, at least for me personally, I think the way that I got into embodiment is through reading, hearing something that made sense to me, that grabbed me and that made sense to me, and that allowed me to move into this different thing, kind of a bridge. The bridge metaphor is something that I actually like, that I think that's very helpful. I had a situation like that actually yesterday. I had this somatic practice class yesterday, early evening, and then afterwards I had a work, a team counseling session. And we're talking about one of my colleagues brought up a topic, something that she'd that had been on her mind, a tricky situation with one of the visitors, and towards the end of the counseling session, the counselor asked her, or it was about kind of it doesn't really matter, but basically it was about so there was this question so we were coming up with a plan, and there was this question whether she wanted to be present when this plan was carried out. And I noticed that she was having a hard time, when that question was asked, I immediately knew that it was a no, from everything that we'd been talking about that entire session, but also just from what I got from her. I knew that it was a felt sense no. but she was having a hard time with it. Like she was having a hard time kind of feeling into her body and getting out of her head. So and it like and so like there were like a few, or like there was a moment where like she started kind of trying to explain something, and I interrupted her and was like, no, like don't think, well, like what do you feel? And like that wasn't enough of a prompt, so I realized that she needed a bridge that helped her kind of connect the feeling and thinking in some way. So I offered something that I was introduced to by Jessica Lanyadoo on her podcast, on her like Ghost of a podcast, where like I think it was probably like in one of her like readings, she used this method where kind of basically like someone was having a hard time determining whether something felt like a yes or a no, or something felt and she offered like a percentage scale. I'm not sure if it did it exactly the way that she did, but the way that I offered it to my colleague was that okay, let's try with percentages. Like imagine like where are you percentage wise on this question? Like imagine like no, like absolutely no is 0%, and like hell yes is 100%. Where are you? And I think in the original, like in the podcast that I got this idea from, I think there was actually something about like 70%, and Jessica still said like no, then that's a no. If it's not, yeah. And my colleague said like had like kind of like yeah, maybe like somewhere in the middle, like 50%, and then she was even gonna say that maybe even a bit below 50%, and I was immediately like, then it's a no. And it helped her, like it like, and like if that felt like a bridge, like from getting from like thinking to feeling in a way. I don't know. And so I like bridges because that's how I think. And that colleague that I was talking about, she also has like a very, very like similar birth chart to me. Like her big three are the same as mine. Like yeah. So, and I don't know, I just get her, you know, and it just and because that's also how I operate. Like I'm a Virgo moon, and so yeah, I need to have information to, or like I need to like, I don't know, be structured about my feelings in a way, or I need some help with my feelings just because I have like a like, I don't know, like a big sense of responsibility for like how it, like, I don't know, I just feel very responsible and like for how I show up, or like just very I don't know, doesn't matter. But so that's kind of, so like for me, getting into the embodiment aspect and like even spirituality, like all of these more, like all of these like like getting into my body, I needed a bridge to get into my body. I needed to like have someone explain things to me that led me there from my head to the body. And that's like an idea, or like that's kind of, so kind of around that concept that was, or like that's maybe also like, or that idea is also in the idea that I had. And now that I've been talking for 25 minutes, but it was basically about kind of, okay. So I would have started, so the ideas that I had was starting the class with something like who of you speaks more than one language? Or who of you like grew up learning more than one language, or who of you has parents who speak a different language than German, which is the language that we all communicate in because it's the like language of the country that I live in, or the official like language. Um, and then I was kind of getting into like thinking about, so I was thinking about the body as a language and thinking about how the way that we learn our first language is through listening. It's through being immersed in that language. And then maybe some of us grew up with parents who also spoke a different language, but maybe that language is kind of looked down upon, or like there's like there's a racism aspect to why maybe that language deteriorates and doesn't get spoken, or also how like maybe when you learn a language at school and you don't use it for a really long time, it just deteriorates. You can't like at some point you don't know how to use it anymore. You don't even you don't understand it. There's maybe like you know that it's there, you know that it exists, it is somewhere in your body, but it's not like knowledge that you can actually actively use. And I was kind of thinking about that as like we grow up, like I was thinking about how like we grow up kind of, and that is still in a binary, but like how like thinking of kind of like the body, like the body has a language. There's the body is an entire language system. There's like this felt sense, this ancient, like generations old knowledge system that lives in us, but it sleeps because it has been, or like it sleeps or it has been withdrawn, or like it kind of like hides in our body, or like it's hidden somewhere and it's not accessible because it's just been attacked and kind of and suppressed and discriminated against and hurt and all of these things, so that we start to associate that language with harm because we were told that it's bad and something like that. And yeah, I don't know, and I was thinking kind of about starting a class that way, and how like and yeah, thinking about ruminating, and I also watched this other YouTube video a couple of days ago, where someone talked about embodiment, and like yeah, and it's kind of about learning to, yeah, I don't know, something about the body language and how it's hard to learn a language, and how it makes sense that if we were like a lot of time under threat, kind of taught to only speak that one language, to only think in that specific way, then like, and that's not like and that's how we survived as well, and stuff like that. Like obviously that language is so much more accessible. It's always there. It's like always trying to make sense of things. That's kind of how we understand the world, and that like our rational mind tries to protect us from this other part that we associate with pain or threat. Yeah, I don't know, something like that. I'm glad I started talking about something else because, or like, I don't know. I obviously didn't really get there fully. But I think that's something that will come, like, if I'm in the moment. Like, I'm very bad at, like, I think if I want to act, like, if I want to, like, be in a role, I can be in a role. I can be an actor. But, or I don't even know if I can do that. But I cannot detach. Okay, what's going on right now? I'm having a lot of different thoughts. I feel like I have to solve this problem. My head was feeling very heavy right now. Like, I felt like all of my weight felt like it was I don't know, it felt like my head felt like a rock. Yeah, it felt like my head was a rock and my body was kind of fog or something. I don't know. Yeah. So that's the hard part about bridges sometimes, I guess. It's because I confuse myself. Or not just about bridges, but anything. I just confuse myself, or like, yeah, I don't know. Okay. This is just an idea I had. I have all kinds of ideas all of the time. And I don't, like, forcing them never works. Forcing the ideas never works. I just need to let them come and observe them. And I think I just wanted to record or document that idea in some way. That's the thing, right? Like, sometimes like, I don't know, I'm someone who has like a lot of ideas all of the time, like a lot of like inspiration strikes in many different ways and moments, and then there's just this, I don't know, like, suddenly I'm attached to an idea and I'm scared that I'm gonna forget it. And then I try to grab it, but it's not really there yet. Like, it's not really a full shape yet. It's not a shape that's really ready to leave my insides yet, or that is like it's just not, yeah, it's just not come into shape. It's more like a cloud. It's more foggy. And I was trying to turn fog into a rock or something, so that I can just pocket it and it doesn't leave, and I can just hold on to it until I can do something with it. But that's not really how this works, I guess. I don't have to figure this out. I was, yeah. I was watching, this is one of the last things I'm gonna say, and then I'm gonna go. I was watching Jadina's video last night, and it was, I have to, like, that is a video that I will be rewatching, like, definitely. It was so, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do another yoga class now, I think, and then I'm gonna think about food, probably, at some point again. And I haven't had enough water. This is peppermint, rose hip, and lemon green tea, I think. So, like, I don't know. I'm trying, like, I added the green tea because I felt a headache forming, like, kind of in the right like right side of my forehead. It was like this headache forming, and that's also why I went for the restorative yoga class today, and I'm gonna do a yin yoga class next. And that's why I added the green tea, because there was something. I was like, what tea helps with headaches? I don't know. Caffeine, maybe. Maybe something with caffeine, or like, I don't even know, caffeine or teen, is that the right word? I don't know, but I don't have a headache anymore. I don't know if it was the yoga or the tea or the food or my meds, but I definitely need to get in the habit of drinking more. I don't know why that's so hard. I mean, I guess I kind of know. Now I'm already thinking what I'm gonna title this video, which is like, I just want to be here. And that's okay. I think I was thinking about how to title this video because I think it's a good video. Because it was different than I thought it was gonna be, and yeah, I don't know. That's okay. I am patience. I'm calm. I'm love. I'm water. I'm patience. I'm calm. I'm love. I am water. I think I'm gonna go now. I have to just